Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am Navy and I wanted to welcome you to another video. I hope you had a good day till now and that it will be better if not. Today we are going to read 3 stories from the subreddit r/midsole that I hope you will enjoy. These stories including a dad that chose his sister over his daughter, interesting. And a man that freaked around his ex's affair child. But now to the least interesting story, which is... Oh yeah, and I almost forgot. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment on what I should read next. First title being... Am I the asshole for ghosting my boyfriend after he said we were not a couple? I, 25M, met this guy Jay, 25M, through my roommate. We hit it off, and after a couple of weeks, I asked him out. We started going on dates and eventually began dating. Fast forward 5 months, he was going to visit his parents and invited me along. When we arrived, his mom asked if I was his boyfriend. He cut her off and referred to me as his friend. I was confused and greeted her anyway. He did the same thing with his dad and sister. During the ride back, our conversation went approximately like this. OP, are we just friends with benefits to you? J. No. Then why did you tell your family I'm just a friend? Because we are not a couple. Then what are we? J. Silence. He remained silent for the rest of the ride. The next day he acted like nothing had happened. I tried to discuss with him multiple times, but he brushed it off. I had to move out of my apartment for unrelated reasons, and I didn't tell Jay or my ex-roommate my new address. I stopped talking to him and replying to his messages. Now, 3 weeks later, he showed up at my door. He told me he contacted my brother to get my address. He called me an asshole for ghosting him, accused me of cheating on him. He saw me hanging out with a girl he doesn't like. I told him I can hang out with whomever I want, especially since he said we are not a couple. He cursed at me a bit before saying I should have just broken up with him. Again, I thought we weren't a couple. He ended up leaving and crying. Even though I believe I did the right thing, my friends told me I might have been a little harsh on him. So, to prove the point, I am writing this and letting the internet judge. Am I the asshole for ghosting my boyfriend after he said we weren't a couple? Edit. Yes, he is out. His family knows. During dinner, they even asked him if he had any news about his ex-boyfriend. I wouldn't necessarily say you are the asshole or not, but ghosting is crappy. Did it help? Probably not. When someone does something wrong, is your first response to ignore him or to point it out? What he did was crappy? Yes, it was. Really. But that doesn't mean you should ghost him. I think you would have been better off just breaking up with him. So, now to the next story. Am I the asshole for choosing my sister over my daughter? My ex-wife 33F and I 34M finalized our divorce last year. Long story short, she was having an emotional affair with a guy at work. She's now in a relationship with him. We also have a co-parenting arrangement for our daughter, 14F. My daughter is very close to her mom and she even sided with her on her affair. For the first few months after the divorce, I did try to maintain a friendly relationship with my daughter. I gave her gifts, I never blamed her mom, I tried my best. But my daughter was extremely cold with me. After a few months, she just straight up told me that she liked her stepdad much more than me. And he was the man my ex-wife deserved as a husband, and the man she deserved as a daughter. I had no clue why she even said that to me. And that was the most painful thing anyone had ever said to me in my life. I broke down really bad that night and took the next couple of days off work. After a couple of days, I decided that I wanted to emotionally and financially distance myself from my daughter, and that I would do the bare minimum possible and fulfill my legal and financial obligations till she was 18. All this time, my sister was there to support me. I had no other family, my parents were long gone. My sister had gone through a similar thing a few years ago. Her husband had cheated on her. Luckily, she had no children, but that experience had devastated her so much that she said she wasn't going to date ever again because she had lost trust in all men. After I had made the decision to distance myself from my daughter, I started removing her as the primary beneficiary from all of my financial accounts, my 401k, etc., and instead put my sister as the beneficiary beneficiary. I started withdrawing from the college funds I had saved for my daughter and used it on myself and for my sister. This wasn't a one-way thing. My sister earns more than me, and over the past few months I had received more gifts from her than I had received from my ex-wife in my entire life. We also went on a 2-week vacation to Europe. All in all, I have emotionally and financially distanced myself from my daughter, and I am doing the absolute bare minimum possible. I have plans to never speak to her ever again after she turns 18. I just want to finish off my legal and financial obligations to her. My daughter has definitely noticed this change in my behavior, but she hasn't said anything yet. Wow, I can really imagine how OP must feel in these moments. The majority of comments say that she is 14 and that this should be excused because of it. She is a teenager and that is how all teenagers react, but that is not true at all. I was 14. My parents divorced because of affairs, but I never said anything to my parents that harsh. There is no excuse for you to be saying these things to your parents no matter the age. Final answer, you are not the asshole, but you have to think all the way through and to not fall into bad habits and get in touch when she gets older. And now to the final story of the video. Am I the asshole? Who am I kidding? I am definitely the asshole for sleeping with my ex-fiancée affair baby 23 years later. I'm a 45-year-old guy, single, no kids, all names are fake. About 24 years ago, my then fiancée Ella, then 20, told me she was pregnant. I was over the moon. We did not set a wedding date yet, but now we wanted to wait till the child was 2 or 3 to be part of the wedding party. When she was about 7 months pregnant, my world shattered. A friend, let's call him Luke, told me that the child was his and not mine. This led to a physical fight and Ella took his side. We were done, I broke up with her there. She moved in with Luke. I did demand a paternity test. If the child was mine, I demanded to be in his life. After the birth of the girl, the test was done twice, by a clinic I chose and one she chose. Turned out she was not mine. I was destroyed and left town. She could have her life. I didn't want to witness it. And now to the present. A month ago, my work brought me back to my hometown temporarily for 2 weeks. I ran into Ella with her daughter, Nikki, 23, at an impromptu school reunion. Ella wanted to catch up. I wasn't angry anymore, but also did not see the point of being friends. I declined and mingled. After a while, I sat at a table nursing a drink. Ella has already left and Nikki sat at my table. She asked me for 10 minutes to talk. She knew about my history with her mother and it was clear that she resented her mother. Because Luke was also not her bio-dad. Ella cheated on me with at least 2 people. 23andMe revealed the real bio-dad, he had passed away already. When Nikki was 7, Luke found out and kicked them out. And it became the scandal. Nikki was bullied her whole life for being the affair baby. Luke's family disowned her. All the cousins she was close with were gone all of a sudden. She blamed her mother. I asked her why she told me all of this. She said that I am someone who would understand this betrayal, and she is the product of that betrayal. She does not expect anything from me, she just needed someone to talk to who would understand. I felt for this kid, so we kept talking. We exchanged contact info and went our own ways. The next day she wanted to talk more, to vent more, so we met in the bar of the hotel I was staying. We had drinks and she ranted about her life. We talked till late and when the bar closed, Nikki was too drunk to drive home and since I didn't know where she lived, I couldn't even get her an Uber. So I took her to my room. I have the habit of always getting a room with twin beds. So she slept in one bed and I slept in the other. Nothing happened. Next morning we had breakfast and she left while I went to work. A few nights I met Nikki in the bar because she had a lot to rant about. We also talked about her future and she expressed interest to move out of the town to escape the stigma of being the affair baby. Here is where I am the asshole. I made a move on her one night. At first she walked away. I thought I blew it, so I went up to my room. An hour later she sent me a text asking if I was in my room. As soon as I answered with yes, she knocked on the door. I was sober. She was sober. I had time to think. I could have sent her away, but I didn't. This is the daughter of my ex-fiancé. If I had never found out Ella cheated, I would have raised Nikki as my own daughter. but I found out and Nikki is not my daughter. I never saw her as a baby, never saw her grow up, I never saw her as a daughter. The first time I saw her was a week ago. So yes, I slept with her, and then again. Nikki is more vengeful than I am. She said she wanted to let her mother know, but she wasn't going to do it if I didn't want to. I was okay with letting her know. It took a little convincing in how we would let her know. We took a picture together, clearly in bed, clearly naked but covered by sheets, and she sent it as a one-time view picture to her mother via Instagram message with the caption, "I can finally call him daddy." Disgusting. Ella called and they got into a fight. Then she got in a fight with me, still over the phone. I thought I was over the betrayal, but it seems like I had bottled up everything and now it finally came out. I had 4 more days there, and Nikki stayed in my hotel room those 4 days. Now I'm back home. Nikki is currently packing everything. She is going to move to another country to be away from her toxic environment. She will stay with me for a week, maybe more, before she flies away. She is going no contact with her mother. I have also blocked Ella on everything. Yes, Nikki and I are both broken. I refused therapy for years, but after that one outburst where I told Ella everything that was bottled up, I've decided that I do need therapy. I have suggested it to Nikki. She said when she is settled, she will. I'm not even going to ask if I'm the asshole. I know I am. Edit. Current situation, hangover. Wow, this post blew up. Comments are still coming in, and there's no way I can read and reply to all of them. I might respond to a few random ones later. After reading my post and seeing all the mistakes, lesson learned. Don't write while intoxicated. I'm leaving the mistakes uncorrected though. I think they capture how I felt at the time. Typos and all. What in the not incest is that? Well, how do I answer to this? What am I supposed to say? Yes, you are the asshole, but for what? For sleeping with your ex-fiancé, a fair daughter, or for sending her the picture with the 2 of you naked in bed? Yes. Unfortunately, the video ends here. This has ended me. I hope you have a good morning, evening or night depending on where you are. Bye.